Massive bank failures just keep piling up, and it's going to keep happening. We're going to get into a depression. We know inflation is already terrible, and this is all, y'all know how I feel about this. This is all by design. This is Biden's plan to destroy this economy and bring in their socialist agenda. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button, share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. Has a link to my Patreon where I talk about things I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my merch store where I have I Will Not Comply t-shirts as well. Also, check out my new website, jjthepsychotherapist.com, where I got tons of news that'll keep you informed, and I'll be putting out a bunch of news throughout the day, um, so you'll be more aware of what's going on around the world. So, all right, let's talk about this news. When Silicon Valley Bank collapsed in March, it was the second biggest bank failure in American history, but now just 2 months later, it's only the third biggest. So, congratulations on that, Biden. San Francisco's troubled First Republic Bank is no longer, quote, the substantial majority of its $229 billion in assets and deposits were seized Monday morning by federal regulators and quickly sold to financial giant JP Morgan Chase, according to Reuters. JP Morgan Chase chairman and CEO Jamie Dimon said in a statement that the quote, government invited us and others to step up, and we did. And JP Morgan Chase has over $3.7 trillion in assets, so taking on a comparatively tiny bank costs barely a ripple in their morning coffee. Um, Apropos of nothing, it's just popped into my brain to ask someone who understands these things better than I do. When too big to fail becomes too big to bail out. We'll save the sleep sucking worries for another day. However, because customers will find their existing First Republic branches open today, the FDIC also assured depositors that, quote, deposits will continue to be insured by the FDIC and customers do not need to change their banking relationship in order to retain their deposit insurance coverage. I mean, who in their right mind would stick with this bank after this is happening, even though they got sold to JP Morgan Chase? First Republic had been hit by a massive wave of withdrawals following the twin collapse of New York City's Signature Bank and Bay Area Silicon Valley Bank in March. If it seems like I was just telling you about First Republic Bank, it's because I was. Last week, it was reported that San Francisco's troubled financial district real estate market, formerly some of the most valuable office spaces in the world. Um, First Republic announced last week that they were laying off a quarter of their workforce and pulling way back on how much financial district office space they lease. It's been articles and stuff that came out last week that was talking about office spaces and buildings and how they're empty, and they're trying to find out new ways to lease this office space, and they're trying to bring in teleworkers to these office spaces and things like that, but they're still empty. But I digress. But now that the bank is no longer, it's unclear how much of First Republic's workforce's downtown offices will survive. Even before this morning's collapse and seizure, First Republic's right sizing efforts were set to leave the lovely one front street skyscraper looking like a 38-story ghost town. Again, we're seeing this a lot in these big cities. A lot of these big buildings are unoccupied, they're empty. So that's why a lot of these vacant places are falling, because when real estate goes, I believe so goes some of these banking institutions, because a lot of these banking institutions are tied in with real estate. So, in addition to another massive bank failure, today's news is potentially another body blow to a city already struggling for breath. Even when adjusted for the discomforts of today's inflation, three of America's five largest bank failures have occurred under President Joe Biden's watch. Again, This is why I believe it's by design. And the mainstream media seems disinterested in this, in all these bank failures that's going on under this president. They might mention it, but they're not really telling people how bad it really is and what's really going on right now, especially as it pertains to inflation. And I believe we're living in a depression right now, but they're hiding it. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe. And check out democrepublics.com for the latest in news. Oh, and my new website, jjthepsychotherapist.com as well, for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.